What do you need to do in order to get into a new home? One of the first things is getting pre-approved. And today I want to talk to Monica Barton here in Alaska about how you can do that in our great state in the last frontier. So today I've got Monica Barton from Movement Mortgage here to talk with us just a little bit about what is it that you need to get started in this whole home buying process. So Monica, can you fill us in a little bit about what do folks need when they're looking to get started in this whole process?
So a lender's always going to start with an application, and that can sound really scary, but it's actually pretty simple. All we're going to ask are things pertaining to your life. So it's all about you. So name, social security number, date of birth, 2 years of address history, 2 years of employment history, and then just some questions regarding whether or not you co-signed for a loan or had a bankruptcy, because all of those things come into play when we're looking at that pre-qualification. So that's a great place to start. It also allows us to pull your credit report. So we're going to pull a credit report when we get your application. That's an important piece in determining what someone can qualify for.
Now, is that when you pull that, is that a hard pull or a soft pull in the pre-approval process?
It is a hard pull. That is the way we get all the information from all three bureaus. And a lot of people can be a little bit sensitive to getting their credit pulled. It's actually only 3 to 5 points. So it's a very minimal impact on your credit when you look at the overall how a credit report is scored. So payment history and all those things are much more impactful than a hard pull. But that's the way we determine how you're pre-qualified. So it's an important piece, but not scary.
Now, when you talk about the 2 years of employment, I know you and I've had this conversation with many folks, and they're looking at moving to Alaska, and maybe they have a job or maybe they don't. What advice do you give somebody in this process when it comes to their employment?
It all depends on what they might be doing now versus what they're going to be doing when they get to Alaska, as well as how are they paid now versus how are they going to be paid when they get to Alaska. So it's different based on each scenario. I always recommend, even if you're looking at next year, so you're thinking, we want to move to Alaska. It's a big move to come to Alaska. But what does that look like? And how do I need to get prepared? And the best thing to do is start today. So if you're looking at next year, let's talk about it today, because that will help you as you make those plans, as you look at different employment offers of which one might help you get into a home quicker.
Gotcha. So what do you find is now unique about the mortgage process, the pre-approval process in Alaska? Because that's the one thing that people seem to always want to know is what's unique about Alaska and trying to get a home and get a mortgage.
So mortgage guidelines are pretty standard across the nation, but there are some uniqueness about Alaska. We're a little different up here. So,
yeah, we are.
We've got our slope workers, which unless you're Alaskan, you might not know what that means, but those are our oil workers. So if you're looking to go into slope type work, we're going to dig into that income a little bit deeper to see if you have had some similarities in what you're doing now. There's the Alaska Permanent Fund Dividend. So for our residents here who get paid to live here, which is super cool, we might ask for some different documentation to support the fact that they have received that income. So there's a couple of different things with Alaska. We have fishermen who are out fishing. And so there's a little bit of uniqueness with their type of pay. So it just kind of depends on what your employment might be or what kind of property you might be looking at. So we have some unique properties here too that some will meet traditional financing opportunities and then some won't.
So Monica, can you give me a list of what folks are going to need when they want to get pre-approved for that mortgage?
Great question, Ken. Thank you so much for asking that, because as lenders, we want to get that pre-qualification going as quickly as possible, and having all of those documents available makes the process go that much quicker. So we're going to ask for a copy of your driver's license. This is to help us identify you are who you say you are. If you're employed, we're going to ask for the last 30 days of most recent pay stubs, along with the last 2 years of W-2s. If you're self-employed, along with that, we're going to ask for your last 2 years tax returns. We're going to need your most 2 months bank statements. Everything, as you can notice, it's like 2, 2, 2, 2. So last
good rule of thumb to remember.
Yes. And then depending upon whether or not you might be receiving alimony or child support, or if you're paying, we might be asking for additional documentation for that as well. But that's your basic list of items needed to get the pre-qualification process started.
Perfect. Thank you, Monica. I appreciate that list. That's a huge help. Well, thank you so much for taking that time today. What is the best way, if people have questions, to get in touch with you?
They can contact me through Facebook, Instagram, text, email. I take all forms of communication. So feel free to reach out, whatever works best for you.
All right. Well, Monica, thank you so much. I'm going to put your contact information down below in the comment section. So if people need to reach out, they can get the web address for Movement Mortgage and know where to find you in the future as well. Thank you so much for taking time today and to help those folks that might be tuning in that want to make the last frontier their home. Thanks, Monica.
Thank you.